And we're joined now, I'm delighted to say, by a congressman from Georgia, Republican Buddy Carter. He's back in Washington at the moment to vote, but we want to start out thanking you for coming, but also asking you what's going on in Georgia. Do you agree with Governor Kemp's decision? Because President Trump seems to have some doubts about it.
Well, certainly it's a difficult decision. The governor is, I'm sure, is weighing a number of different things. The facts that are being given to him, the statistics that are being given to him, as well as the advice that he's getting from his consultants. I'm sure that's playing a big part in in his decision making. But you know, it's important to note that regardless of how rapid or how slow we roll out our economy, it remains incumbent upon the citizens to do their part, and that is to make sure that you're following the guidelines of the coronavirus task force, washing your hands, make sure you're practicing social distancing. All of those things are very important. Just because the governor has given permission for many of these businesses to open doesn't necessarily mean you have to go. Just because the gym's open doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. Just because the hair salon's open doesn't mean you have to go. My point is simple, and that is that a lot of this is up to the individuals. And when we do roll out the economy, and we are going to, and we're going to in Georgia tomorrow, very important that individuals do their part as well.
Talking about the guidelines from the coronavirus task force, actually, they laid out those 3 phases, and one of them, as I understand, to get to the first phase, you had to have a decline in the number of instances and the number of deaths over a 2-week period. Have you had that in Georgia? Because I believe you've not. So is the governor complying with the guidelines that President Trump set out?
Well, and I think that's where the president was, what he was alluding to yesterday, is that the guidelines had called for some of the businesses that Governor Kemp has agreed to open tomorrow, such as the salons, such as the tattoo parlors, that they would not open until phase 2, and he's got them opening in phase 1. So I think that's where the difference is the president saying, I strongly disagree, that ought to be in phase 2 instead of phase 1. But, you know, again, keep in mind the idea was that we would that we would flatten the curve, that we would have our hospitals to be prepared and ready in case we do have a peak, in case we have a surge. And the governor feels very strongly that we are prepared, that our hospitals are prepared, and that if we do have a peak or a surge, that we can handle that peak and surge.
Congressman, one of the big questions on everyone's mind is, as we start to open back up, will we know when we have a problem? How long will it take to find out? And that takes us back to testing. The bill that's coming up before the House later today is going to include $25 billion for testing. Where is Georgia on testing? Are you confident that you have enough testing so that if, in fact, the governor did go a little too fast, you'll know about it fast enough to correct it?
Well, that's a great question, and I will tell you that early on we were lacking in testing in the state of Georgia, particularly in my district, in the 1st Congressional District, which is the coast of Georgia. And that was something that really concerned me. Now, we have done better, and the reports from the hospitals in my district have been very good and very encouraging, saying that, you know, we've got a good supply of tests now. So I know that was probably one of the points that the governor took into consideration when he made this decision. It's important because going forward, as we attack this, it's going to be we're going to have to take it in a twofold approach, and that is, first of all, it's got to be a combination of technology and intuitiveness. Technology that we've got to have robust testing. We've got to have that. If we see a surge, then perhaps it's time to pull the reins back a little bit. And I have enough confidence in the governor to know that if he has to reverse course, that he'll do that.
And Congressman, let's come back to that bill that is pending in front of the House of Representatives. As I say, you've flown back, as I understand it, from Georgia, so you'll be present for the bill. Good for you. Will you vote for it? And as important, is there a next round that's coming, which is assistance to the states?
Yes, that's a very important question. Yes, I do intend to vote for the bill today. It is, you know, essentially this bill this is not the 4th phase. This is, if you will, the phase 3.5. It's just increasing the amount of money that's going to go to the Payroll Protection Program, the PPP, the amount of money that's going to go to our hospitals, very important because it includes money for rural hospitals, which is very important in my district. And it includes money for testing, as you said, and also for the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program that the SBA administers. All of those were part of the CARES Act, the 3.0 Act. So this is nothing more than increasing the funding for those particular programs. Now, will there be a phase 4? And what will it look like? Yes, I suspect there will be a phase 4. My hope is that we will see how phase 3 does first before we jump to a phase 4. There may even be a phase 5 for all I know. Will it include money for local and state governments? I think there'll be some lively debate on that, but yeah, we're not going to leave our state and local governments hanging. We understand that they need help as well.
Finally, just to wrap up on the effects of this new bill, the $484 billion, give us some sense in your district, the 1st District in Georgia, what this could mean for many of the small businesses down there.
No question about it. We've been getting phone call after phone call from small businesses. They are really hurting. Keep in mind, I represent the entire coast of Georgia. Tourism is a big part of our economy, the biggest part of our economy on the coast. And the hoteliers, the restaurants, they have really been hurting through all this. Many of them, for whatever reason, didn't get the first round of the PPP, and making these extra funds available hopefully will get that money to them because they vitally need it. Small businesses account for 90% of all the businesses in America. Over half the people employed in America are employed with small businesses. They are vital to our economy, and we've got to get this money to them. So I'm excited about having the opportunity to put more money toward a program that I think is going to save our small businesses.
And you'll be there in person to help make sure it gets done. Thank you so much. That is Congressman Buddy Carter.